Hey everybody, thanks for being here. We have an important announcement related to a very popular topic that we've been working on for a while. Since I became county executive, even before, one of our largest priorities was to make sure that those large commercial tenants and property owners who have not been paying their taxes pay their taxes. We have been in an ongoing saga with MoonBeam related to ShoppingTown Mall for a period of time, and this process has played out in the courts. I'm very happy to report that through mediation between the County of Onondaga, the Town of DeWitt, the Janesville DeWitt School District, and MoonBeam Capital, we've come to an agreement that will be before the bankruptcy judge in December. The agreement is as follows. Onondaga County, or the County IDA, will be transferred ShoppingTown Mall, the Scotch and Sirloin parcel, as well as the bank parcel at ShoppingTown. MoonBeam Capital will be paid $3.5 million. Out of the $3.5 million, the Town of DeWitt and the Janesville School District will participate in that payment, roughly about a third of that payment. The County IDA will then put forward a comprehensive RFP process to all suitors. We will be looking for best uses. Sales price obviously will be a part of this, but this will not be a fire sale. Our goal has always been to have site control and then to make sure that this property is highest and best use moving forward. The sales price will be on a sliding scale. Let me go through this. After an awardee is awarded and selected by the RFP committee, based off of the sales price, there will be a split between the county and MoonBeam. $0 to $4.5 million, the county will receive 90% of the proceeds, MoonBeam 10. From the 4.5 to 12.5 range, the county will receive 80% of the proceeds, MoonBeam 20. From the 12.5 to the $16.5 million sale range, the county would receive 70% of the proceeds, and MoonBeam 30. Anything over $16.5 million in that range, then, and again, this is like your taxes on this type of scale, depending on tax brackets. Anything over 16.5, at that point, the county receives 20, MoonBeam will receive 80. This deal would happen as soon as the judge reviews it in the bankruptcy court in Pittsburgh. This is also pending necessary approvals from the Janesville DeWitt School Board and the Town of DeWitt Board, and any potential county legislature approvals. We're not sure if there are any needed at this point. But overall, we're very pleased. This gives the county the opportunity to control what we view as a very valuable piece of real estate and a very strategic piece of real estate. It will allow us an opportunity to get money paid back to us, and certainly the most important part moving forward through a process, we believe there will be a lot of interest, and this will be an economic engine again for the community, and something that we can all be proud of. Saying that, happy to take questions.
What happens to the current tenants?
Right now, I don't know, Andrew, if the mall's even open. Right now, obviously, we'll look at when we get title, once this has gone through the approvals that are needed. Certainly, the tenants that are in the building, if the building can even meet code, we don't know if that will be the case. Certainly we'll look at that, and we'll get there when we get there. Certainly this won't impact, I believe the bank there is a bank in that operating now. This does not impact them. The Scotch and Sirloin, it does not impact them. The Chili's parcel is not part of this deal, but the Chili's parcel, what we have done is we have agreed to a purchase price that if someone who wants the Chili's parcel through the RFP price can buy that. There's an option on that to buy that parcel if need be. So MoonBeam would, in this process, would at least still control the Chili's parcel unless in our own RFP process, whoever was awarded that wanted to purchase the Chili's parcel as well.
What tipped this to happening, I guess? I mean, you've been working on this for a while. Was there anything that pushed it ahead?
Yeah, I think once you get closer to the courts having to make decisions, I think that makes the parties come closer. There's risk for all parties when you're in a bankruptcy proceeding. And so certainly we've been having conversations for the last 2-3 months, and a mediator got appointed. The mediator, to my understanding, at one point may have even been a judge, and I believe she did a very nice job bringing the parties together and finding some common ground. And again, for us, this isn't just about a fire sale, let's just try to get our money back, and then we don't know what happens next. It's about making that property something that works and is a true economic engine for the community, whether it's town centers, whether it's large employers, whether it's more retail, whether it's a mix of all the above. That's something that in the RFP process will vet itself out.
Have you already gotten any interest from any groups or anything?
Yeah, we've had people want to talk about this. We just haven't been able to talk about it. I was being sued for collusion from day one of my tenure as county executive. I've never had conversations with anybody about this parcel. Now, after the judge approves this, we can start to have those conversations.
Does the IDA become the owner in that interim period? Well, when the IDA pays $3.5 million, does the IDA own it until a new buyer takes place?
Correct. That's the way. So if you recall, the legislature, I was chairman of the legislature when this happened, transferred the property, gave the rights to transfer the property to the county IDA. So that's probably the best vehicle to have the IDA move forward with an RFP process. My deputy county executive, Mary Beth Primo, will oversee that with the IDA board. And that's going to be probably how this works out. We got to go through and look at, is there any other potential county legislative approvals. Certainly the town of DeWitt and the school district are going to have to approve sending either MoonBeam directly some money or the county money to then pay MoonBeam essentially the sales price.
There are still tenants in there, though. Back to them. They're waiting to get in to get their stuff. Do you know what the status is of these tenants just getting their own inventory back? Yeah,
I don't, and certainly that's something now I think we can, if that's still the case and they're still looking at this, certainly we'll be advocating to let people get into the building and get their things.
As far as the numbers go, are you getting all the lost taxes back with this deal, essentially, or how much is the county ultimately?
That will be, we'll see. We don't know the answer to that. I think when you look at what they owe us, a lot of it is penalties and interest. Again, when we talk about risk, Ellen, there's risk that in a bankruptcy proceeding that the assessment that is assessed gets knocked down, and then the money that the county has paid out gets reduced from what MoonBeam would owe us, and then the only way we would get our money back is to go sue one of our school districts or one of our towns. Not a great position to be in. So I think when you look overall, I think there is risk on all sides. We put forward a process that recognizes this is a valuable piece of property. MoonBeam does deserve to get paid for the value, but when you look at the upside on the potential sales on the back end, again, a process that we're going to control and pick who eventually gets it. The county gets a lot of their money back then, and potentially all of it back, depending on what kind of proposals you get in the door.
Will the county have to invest any money into the property before it's sellable?
I don't know the answer to that. We haven't seen it. Again, we're not going to try to have this thing operating as a mall. We're going to have some tenants that are paying rent, we're assuming, that hopefully will get then reinvest to keep property management going and whatnot. But we have no intention of investing money so we open it up as a mall as the owner. We're going to quickly put out an RFP process so that in the early part of 2021 somebody will come in. We will then sell them the property, and then at that point they'll be investing lots of money, creating lots of good things.
Because we saw what the city had to do the developmental center, in the Tip Hill neighborhood. They had to almost stabilize it before it was sellable. Is there any kind of work like that ahead?
Yeah, this will be probably most likely, again, we're a little in front of ourselves right now. This hasn't even been approved yet, but this is most likely an as-is scenario that the developer or developers, whoever ends up winning a RFP process, will take on a very valuable asset. This, if done right, will be a large investment by somebody into the community.
And this really would nicely fit in with all the work they're doing with the Erie Canal there and everything like that. So it's a plus, real plus for that part of the county, really.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. This has been something that we've worked very hard on. If you think about, it's kind of been a soap opera, and we're now on the other side of this. Hopefully this all gets worked out and the judge approves this. I think MoonBeam feels good, we feel good, and we hopefully have a happy ending in 2021 with somebody willing to make the types of investments in our community.
Are you confident in the market out there that the property could go somewhat easily?
Oh, I think so. I think, and again, it's not, sales price will factor into the RFP process, but I think the end use is what's going to really drive this. And so stabilizing the property, making it sure its highest and best use moving forward is what really the community expects. There's no point in us just trying to have a fire sale and get as much money as we can, and then it's Groundhog Day 2-3 years from now. Somebody buys it and they're not paying taxes again.
Could there be a middle step where the next owner then readies it for another owner for development, or do you want the next owner to be the next project?
Yeah. Well, there'll be clear benchmarks in the process that they'll need to hit, so we'll let that play out.
You don't expect the pandemic to have any impact in how this all, the uncertainty of the economy or anything like that?
What was that?
You don't expect the pandemic and the uncertainty of the economy to have any impact on how the sale goes through and whatnot?
I don't think it will, Ellen. I think there's, if you look at the recovery, what's happening, pretty organically right now around the country, things are still, even though we're in this uptick with the pandemic, the economic numbers are pretty solid compared to where they could be. So I think there will be plenty of interest from local investors and national investors, quite frankly. And we'll see what once the RFP goes out, people will see what kind of the criteria is, and then we'll let the cards fall where they fall when the proposals come back.
About a year ago, I think about a year ago, if I'm getting my years right, you referred to MoonBeam as the Grinch. I'm wondering how the story changes now. Does the Grinch get the heart growth that we're used to?
We'll see. We'll see, Andrew. We got to get through December 14th, but certainly we're pleased with where this is right now, and certainly we think it's a fair deal to MoonBeam. We think it's a fair deal to the county and our ability to move forward with the property and certainly get some of the money that's owed to us back. Again, this is money we've paid out, and certainly whenever there's a property in bankruptcy, that money's at risk. So now we're in a position where we can control our own destiny to a degree, and that's where we want to be.
One quick, sorry, go ahead.
What are taxpayers paying?
$3.5 million is what the initial purchase price is. And then they'll share on, depending on the sales price at the end, they'll share in some of that sales price as well.
Regarding the pandemic, we saw a lot of people being tested in the same building that we're in right now. I noticed on Twitter you were going back and forth with some people. What's the demand been like since you opened that asymptomatic testing to everyone? And are you able to get more of those kits to do more than 450 a day?
Yeah, it's not, we could do more than 450 a day right now, Andrew. We just don't have enough people to do it. So if you think about it, we opened it up on Monday. Okay, I think we have 5,000 people signed up already. Nobody else is doing this, right? So I understand people get frustrated when they hear about it and they go on and they want to get an asymptomatic test 4 days later. If you're asymptomatic, you're not sick, right? So this is like a proactive thing. So I get it. You want to, we're in an instant gratification society, and you want to be able to, the second you do it, do it. I understand the anxiety. I live this. But I think overall the demand's been incredible, and we're doing it through weekends now. So the same people that do 100% of the lifting related to the pandemic are now spending all their time on weekends doing this too. So symptomatic testing, asymptomatic testing, all things that right now we're doing probably on average for asymptomatic tests in the community, 1,200 to 1,400 a day now with our schools and then with the community. And then symptomatic testing, obviously we have one site, but there's 4 or 5 other sites that are all doing that. And again, we're trying to get symptomatic rapid tests as well. You just can't buy those. It's just not easy. It's not about writing a check and they come. If that was the case, we would have had them 3 months ago.
So the weekend testing that was recently added because of the demand?
Yeah, we want to, again, weekend testing. So weekend testing skews our numbers a little bit with positive numbers, because what happens is the weekend testing in the community is lighter than during the week. And so, we think it's easier for people to maybe get to some place to get tested on a weekend. But what we see happens, and we'll see it happen again today, is there's only so many spots open on a weekend. There's a race Monday to get tested, and then you have more positives on like a Wednesday. And so your positives are disproportionately high instead of being spread out on a Wednesday. So today will be a high case day, just like every Wednesday has been for the past 3 weeks. So we want to open up weekend testing for symptomatic and asymptomatic more. But again, it's a resource challenge, not buying the tests or paying for it. It's a resource challenge with you don't have enough people that are licensed to operate them, because the same people who have been licensed to operate them have been doing this every day for the last 8 months, 7 months, whatever it is now.
So with the upcoming holiday and everything, I think right now if you go on, you can see that the weekends have been added, but other than that, you can't get an appointment until next Friday.
For the asymptomatic testing?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my counter to that is you're asymptomatic. So if you become symptomatic, you can't get that test anyways. So you're not sick, right? You're asymptomatic, so you're not sick, and you're not paying for it. So to me, I think it's a pretty good deal. You don't pay for a COVID test, and you don't necessarily need one. This is us playing offense. So I think that's a pretty good deal. The symptomatic testing is when you're sick, and making sure that there's enough capacity there to make sure you can get in and get a test within a day or two, and then get a result back within a day or two. Reminding the public, we have an executive order that if you're sick and symptomatic, you don't go to work. You get your test, you stay home until you get the result back, because you are sick, and that's the executive order. But overall, the testing, it's certainly strained, but it's not. I've seen some of the articles and the reports. They focus in on rapid tests, how it's tough for rapid tests. We've never had symptomatic rapid tests in our community, and everybody wants them. We've never been able to get them. No government really has them. Now we got some ID Now machines, but we can't get the test kits. We've been trying to buy them for months. Nobody can get them. There's not enough around the country. So you can get a symptomatic test in Onondaga County. Whether you wait a day or two, that hasn't changed during the pandemic. That's been kind of the process. Or you can go to the Syracuse Community Health Center, but you may wait in line for a while. But that's just what happens when we're in the midst of the second wave.
So what do you say to people who, maybe traveling out of the state for the holiday, they're coming back, they're asymptomatic, but can't get scheduled tests?
They schedule, but they made the decision to leave the community in the pandemic. They're getting a very good service for free, so schedule it. You're supposed to quarantine anyways. You test out on the 4th day, so you're not supposed to be doing anything before then anyways. So I think the message is to the travelers is that's a decision you're making, and you own that decision. And so when you come back, you're supposed to be in a quarantine. If you probably go online now, if that's the scenario, you can probably get a test, I'm assuming. 4 days after Thanksgiving right now if you were to schedule for that. So I think that it's a good deal. It's a free test, it's a rapid test, and it's asymptomatic, meaning you're not sick. So technically, we're playing offense on it. MoonBeam, and again, the overall, the numbers close depending on, you take out penalties and interest, you're looking at probably a $9 million number. Penalties and interest bring that up to closer to $13 million. Again, that number is being challenged, and certainly by some of the initial decisions from the bankruptcy judge, it looked like that number was going to be impacted. So that's not really, the way the system isn't really fair to county governments. We hold the locals harmless of tax collection, therefore we're on the hook for property tax collection. We pay them what they assess it for, and then at that point we're on the hook. So we've been chasing MoonBeam, that's how we got here. MoonBeam thinks they've been overtaxed. That's part of the argument why they haven't been paying. And so we're in court, there's risk to both sides. And the temporary assessment that the judge gave was, I think, $4.5 million. So certainly when it was assessed at $33 million by the town, I think we know it wasn't going to hold up in court, that it was worth $33 million. Other questions? Okay, thanks, folks.